We can now continue with this central section of our wing. So we're first going to do the inner curve and then we're going to do the outer curve. So we're working on the front of our pewter on our lino using our Teflon tip, sharp Teflon tip. With a medium to hard pressure, we draw in the outlines of our design. Then we do the same on the other side. And then we can remove our lino so that we can flatten. So we're flattening from the front of our pewter on the hard surface with our paper stump. And I'm not going to try and get with the paper stump tip on the inside of this area. It's just too big. So we're going to flatten that with our Teflon tool. We tidy up the Teflon tool. And now I can take the Teflon tip and I go on the inside of this curve and flatten the inside edge. And then we can do the same on the other side. There we go. And now we can do our second one. So back onto the lino, we can now do the second curve from the front of our pewter with a medium pressure to a hard pressure. We draw the outline. You can repeat that same design on the other wing. And then we can flatten. So we remove our lino and we flatten from the front. And then I'm going to use the tip of the paper stump and flatten the inside as much as possible and avoid flattening my raised areas. And then we take our Teflon tool and we tidy up our edges again. With the tiny spaces, I like to use the tip of my tool and then I lift up the Teflon tool at a bit of an angle so that I don't flatten my raised areas. Okay, so now we can start doing our donut shapes again. So we're working on the front of our pewter, on our lino, and I'm first going to do the two smaller ones, and then the middle ones, and then the bigger ones. So first we do the internal little circle, and then the outside circle. And then we can flatten. So I first flatten the outside, and then we'll flatten the inside a little bit. There we go. And now we can do the second little donut. So we lift them up from the back once all three of them are done. So we're back onto our lino. We first do the inside circle on the front of our pewter, and then the outside circle. And then we can flatten again. So we remove the lino, we flatten with our paper stump. And then we can do the last one. Again, first on the lino, front of my pewter, we do the internal circle first, and then we do the outside circle. So you can also make these donut shapes using a ball and cup tool, but because we've got such a high raised area, it's better to do it freehand. Remove our lino that we can flatten from the front on our hard surface. So after tidying up the surrounding edges, we can go and do the detail lines from the back again. Okay, so now we can turn our pewter upside down again. So I'm again holding it with both hands, turning it upside down on my lino, and we can draw in with a medium to a soft pressure in the same manner as we did this donut. In the center of the donut, we draw in the detail line. This is a very medium pressure, more to the soft side. We don't want to lose our shape. And then after that, we can turn our pewter face up again so that we can tidy up on our hard surface using our paper stump. Okay, so now we can lift up the teardrop shape that goes around our donuts. So we go back onto our pewter, back onto our lino. On the front of our pewter, with a medium to a hard pressure, we draw in that teardrop shape. And then we can remove our pewter from the lino on the hard surface and we can flatten around. And you can see how much the central body of the butterfly has lifted up with every little piece that we have done so far. And then we can tidy up. Here we go. So I'm slightly going to lift up these two shapes from the back so that I can get a little bit of a curvy shape. So we're going to put our pewter upside down on our soft surface. So again, I'm lifting it up with both my hands and turning it over without any pieces bending. And I'm going to use first my hands because this is quite a sensitive shape. And I'm just going to curve it out a little bit. I'm going to do it on both sides. It's just a little bit of a curve. So this is soft motions. And then I'm going to take the tip of my paper stump and I'm just going to push out that curve a little bit, just in case I lost a little bit of shape. So this is a soft pressure that I'm using. I don't want to, again, destroy any of my other shapes. And then we can turn our pewter face up again and we can remove the soft surface so that we can tidy up and flatten. So you can see just that little bit of pressure from the back has created a nice little dome shape. Okay, now we can do the last little frame around that looks like a heart shape. So back onto the lino, still on the front of my pewter, I can draw in the last little outside frame. And then we can flatten again. So we remove our lino and we flatten from the front. So that finishes off the first part, the top part of our central wing piece. So for the next part, I want to do something very similar to what we did on this section. So first we're going to bring out this design, the curvy design here with the three little dots. We're going to bring out these three little dots and then we're going to do this curve in the same manner as we did this one from the back. Before we do that curve, we're going to draw in these detail lines. So we need to think about what's on top of each other. So first we need to do these 3 little dots again. We do them as we did before on the back of our pewter on our liner. So I'm going to turn my pewter upside down. And then we're going to use our ball and cup tool, which is 1 size bigger, because these are a little bit bigger than our first dot. So I've got 1 size bigger. Again, I'm going to support my pewter from the bottom using my hands. And then I'm going to press down vertically, do a little bit of a curvy motion, and then move on to the next one. Then we turn our pewter face up again. We put it on our hard surface so that we can apply the cup over the little dots. So we use the cup part and we press down. Okay, so now we can lift up that curvy design. So we put our pewter back onto our lino. We draw with a medium to a hard pressure the outline. And then we can flatten from the front. So we remove our liner and we flatten towards our design. After flattening, we can use our Teflon tool to tidy up the edges. Okay, so now we can do the next 3 little dots before we can do these detail lines and before we can lift up from the back. So again, from the back of our pewter, so we lift up our pewter using both hands. We turn it upside down. Again, I'm supporting my pewter at the bottom with my hands. I'm using the cup part and I press down. Press down and I do a curvy motion. And turn it back to the front. Place it on your hard surface and then we can apply the cup over our little dots. Okay, so now we're going to draw in these detail lines. We're going to do that from the front. So we place our pewter face up on our lino and we simply draw in the lines without flattening in between. I'm using a medium to a hard pressure as well. I'm starting from the internal line and I work my way out. So now we can do the detail curvy line from the back in the same way that we did this big curved line here. So we're going to turn our pewter upside down and we're going to place it on top of our soft surface so that I've got a nice cushion that can support all of this extra height. So from the back of the pewter, we're going to use our Teflon tool and we're going to draw in the line using a medium pressure. So I'm going to start right in front of that edge, not on top of the edge. Draw in the line and stop again right in front of this little edge here. And do the same on the other side. Then we can turn our pewter face up on our semi-soft surface. So we're not going to flatten in the same way that we did this one. We're now going to do the overall outline. On the front of our pewter, on our lino, we do the overall outline. Then we can remove the lino and we can flatten from the front. Then in the same manner as we did a little bit of molding and shaping, we're going to do again here. So with a little bit of pressure from the front, we're just going to slightly lower the inside edge. So this is a soft motion just to get a bit of a doming effect on that shape. And I'm working on my hard surface, but I'm not pressing hard. There we go. So that created a nice little shape here with a curvy shape on top of it. And I've got a nice curve here. And it's got a nice little dome. That's the central part of our wings done. So now we only have our bottom part left.